Hello, hello. This is Yuri with Moving Sales Professionals and Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me today, I have Ryan King, the owner of Dogwood Moving, with over 10 years in the moving industry. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Great, great. So you have multiple locations. Where are you based?
So our Mecca and our main company is in Raleigh, North Carolina. This past year, I launched in 2024. I launched the Wilmington branch, and then I own a separate company that's not along with those called Brightleaf Moving in Durham.
Okay, great. So you're mainly covering the Carolinas.
Correct.
Okay, now you just do locals or you do long distance?
We are just local, and then we do long distance within the state, but we don't go out of state.
Okay, okay. So what got you into the moving industry? How did you get in?
So when I was in school and college, I was playing soccer as an athlete, and I only had sports on my mind. And then towards the end of like my junior year, I needed to get a job, and I fell into the moving industry. The owner found me in Charlotte, owner of Hornet Moving. He asked me if I wanted to work in the field. I said sure. So I started working with him, and after a month, he was like, "I could see you being the GM of the company." This was when it was just one truck. I was like 21 at the time. I didn't want to do it, and then I started seeing how this can progress, and then I became the GM of that company. And then when I stepped into the office after 6 months, I grew that from one truck to 20 and made that a multi-million dollar company. And then the
Wow.
success there led me to go and do it on my own.
Okay. So how does it feel doing it on your own? You've been having to go to what, past 5 years on your own?
Yes. It's been great. The owner of that company mentored me in some ways, but also gave me the ability of just go for it. He's like, just go higher. So I had to figure that out. And there was no systems and processes really in place besides the basics. So I made a
Sure.
lot of mistakes when I was young, just with hiring, not having processes when it comes to like actual training, things like that. So when I opened it this time around, I just analyzed everything I did well and the things that I need to make sure I did this time for myself when I started it.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all, when we start our own business, especially if we are starting something new, we all make mistakes. I don't think there's such thing. I don't think there's a company in the world that that hasn't made mistakes. I'm sure Elon Musk made mistakes, Bezos, and all the other guys as well. They're everybody. Of course, everybody knows are multi-billionaires of the world. They didn't become that overnight. So we all make mistakes. It's what we take from that and what we learn and what we take further and what allows us to grow and progress. I think that's the important part. We unfortunately most people don't learn from others' mistakes. Most people learn from their own. And now for a word from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com today to learn more.
I mean, yeah, that's a big thing. Like when I was the GM, the owner of the company sometimes would tell me like, if it's not broken, don't fix it kind of thing. And I ran with that for a while. And then recently, or when I launched my own, I kind of switched my mindset of anytime a problem occurred, it was more like, okay, maybe this wasn't our fault, but regardless, how can I have avoided it? I feel like a lot of moving companies, it's like 50% prepared and 50% reactionary. And there's always the chaos of the day where I try to make it 80% prepared and 20% reactionary, whether it's confirmation emails that show what not move ready looks like for our customers, or if a certain accident damage happens, what we do to avoid that and have a new process in place. And that's kind of what led us to our success.
Right. And I think it's not so much that if it's not broken, don't fix it. I think it's more like how do we improve on it? How can we make it better? You always
Hmm.
got to think, how can I make the process better
Hmm.
versus, not having it broken or not fixing it, right? Now,
Exactly.
so what are the goals of Dogwood Moving? Do you have specific goals this year or
Hmm.
beyond, or what's the thought
So
process?
yeah, so we slowly have revenue goals. I mean, now that we're kind of getting out of our infancy of the company, we got ranked as the number one company on an unbiased website that's based off data points in North Carolina, which has been awesome. We kind of want to really take over just the whole Raleigh area. We feel like we're there, but now we're going to get a mascot and play, focusing more on videos, ads, things like that. Really diving in as that local hero. I feel like we're there, but really taking that next step to do that. I want to open up another branches as well. So we have the Wilmington one. I'm kind of thinking the next one could be Myrtle Beach and kind
Mhm.
of keep doing these hubs. Right now, the Raleigh location is up to like 20 trucks, 40 to 60 guys in the field, depending on season, seven full-time guys in the office. depending on the other markets and seeing how Wilmington grows, it may be more of like a 6 to 7 truck operation, focus on profit margins, and then still grow, but not push the growth. Where Raleigh's location, I think since it's a good city, it's just the growth just seems limitless at this point. So keep pushing that, hitting our revenue goals. And then I have a lot of young guys who I kind of mentor, and everyone in my office, I have had them in the field and put in sweat equity because that's how I learned. And there's a lot of guys that I see that are extremely competent that I may have them branch off and kind of run a new location. And that's kind of my plan each year, maybe figure out who's the next person who wants to go and open one and kind of keep repeating that process.
It's almost like in-house franchising to a degree.
Hmm.
That's what it
Hmm.
sounds like. No, that's awesome. It's it's I think overall it's a good thing to be able to mentor the people that are under you because a lot of companies when somebody branches out or somebody decides to go and open their own thing, they take that personal and they get offended and whatever instead of being happy for those people.
Hmm.
And reality is this. Yeah, ultimately you may be getting a competitor,
Yeah,
but it all depends on the relationship. So if you have a good relationship and you're helping them, they may be a competitor, but it may be a competitor that's not putting you down in process. And it
100%.
may be a competitor that you can rely on because you never know when you may need an extra truck or you may need extra help or you maybe you have something that happens in the field that you may need last second help with. So be able to have those relationships that allow you to, get out of bad situations sometimes. It's worth having that there. It's like this is such a small industry that everybody tends to know everybody sooner or later. And it's like, and despite the fact how big US is, you find out people all over the place that know somebody that you know. So
Absolutely.
it becomes a much bigger thing, but it's all about relationships that we keep and we being able to build from there. So I think that that's extremely important.
Hi everyone, this is Jasdeep.
Hi, this is Herleen. We are the proud owners of the Calgary franchise of Let's Get Moving.
The main part of the business, which is sales, marketing, and advertising, he was gonna be the one controlling everything on the back end, and all we had to do was take care of the jobs that the sales team was booking for our location.
They'll give you a proper training. Then they have a nice franchisee team. You can call them, you can send them an email, or you can text them. They'll be there to help you.
You definitely need a really good team
Right.
in order for this business to succeed, and we were definitely blessed with amazing operation members, amazing movers, and pretty much even from day one, like we
Right.
had an amazing team.
Visit letsgetmovingusa.com, changing the moving world one move at a time.
Now, besides growth in different locations, is there anything revolutionary new that you are doing today that nobody else is doing? Is there something?
Yeah, well, there's a few things that I do. I mean, since I had the experience here from being in the field and then going into the team leader role, management to now owner, I run my company very differently. Like I went to the Titan retreat and I noticed how different I run things where like they'll have separate sales teams and everything is separate. I have a lot of my roles intermingling and we kind of work in a cohesion. I don't even have a GM in the company. I just started delegating roles and who looking at skill sets of who's better in certain areas from on-site estimates to people management to maybe making spreadsheets. So we kind of grown that way and revenue is given to management, not by their individual sales, but as a team. So what we make that 2 weeks as a company, they all get their percentage of revenue based off that. It's not who booked what, because I don't want to have a competition in the sense of my sales team. I also believe in competition to breed the best out of people. However, when it comes to my sales team, I don't want to look at them as a sales side. They're more of move consultants that work with dispatch and they also partially help with dispatch. So it's this whole cohesive system rather than separate parts where the sales team may be so focused on booking a move and then the dispatch isn't aware of what is being booked and things of that nature. So that's been kind of unique to us. I think the way we handle our socials is very unique. We try to do sometimes like high-end cinematography. I've kind of started teaching myself Final Cut Pro because my friend's a videographer who does our big professional videos. Started doing that, just kind of different avenues in that sense. And then the way that we treat our employees is really different as well. We've had a lot of guys leave and then come back, whether it was a different moving company or a different job. I think our turnover, we've have guys going on 3 to 4 years have been moving with us. Our culture's been strong. We do a lot of events like I'll rent out indoor soccer. We do basketball once a month and we're constantly just getting together and hanging out. And as the owner, I'm removed from the day to day, but I still know every single employee. I don't want to be that owner who's just so far removed that I couldn't even tell you who's working for my company.
Oh, sure. And that's awesome. I mean, I think the company culture is extremely important, and I find the same thing. I mean, I have people that left and came back and they realize that the grass is not greener on the other side.
Hmm.
And I mean, of course, being a call center, we have a little bit different perspective, working with multiple companies at times. And of course, we have direct reps versus telephone company like mentality that our competitors have. It makes a big difference. And I think it's important to have a good relationship with your people. I mean, you want to have the separation. You want to have the
Hmm.
separation, owner, employee. There's got to be a separation because if you're not there. And you find yourself in a situation where you need to tell somebody what to do. You need to turn on the boss card, right? You want to make sure that they do it and if you don't have the right relationship, it's not going to work. And you're going to be
100%.
in between the rock and a hard place. That's not what you want, right? But yeah, I mean, I find it that's important. Like for me, of course, being a call center, friendly competition is important. But
Hmm.
all of my salespeople versus some of the places that I personally worked at as a sales manager, which of course I did that for many years before starting my company. Uh, what I found is that a lot of moving companies, if they have this like where everybody's trying to undercut each other, they think it's a good thing. I think it's a horrible thing because
Hmm.
what it does is that real professional movers, real professional salespeople, they're not going to want to work in that environment. They really won't. They want to work in the environment. Yeah, you want to have friendly competition.
Hmm.
And we certainly have a board that everybody posts their job on, and we're constantly have people that are going head to head with each other all the time. It's friendly. It's like there's not no everybody knows that nobody's going to go behind their back and try to steal their job. And I think that
100%.
that's extremely important. Whether it's guys in the field that are doing moving or whether it's people doing sales in your office, I think you got to build a good culture and build a good relationship is extremely important.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the competition breeds well, and then also like going back on the culture of the company is I definitely have the separation. I've learned my lesson of being maybe too close to employees sometimes where they try to take advantage of that. But I believe in the guys follow policy, do the things that need to be done because they enjoy the company and will love representing the company versus how I've seen companies run well, but it's ran out of fear. And that's just not a company I want to have where my guys are moving because they're worried that if they make a mistake, they're going to be fine to where they can't have it paid to the point where it's just this ecosystem's running out of fear to where no one wants to come and talk to me. I believe in having an open door policy where every policy we have, rule, practice is based off of logic and is pragmatic. And if they want to debate me, I'm very happy to debate them. And because I want everyone to believe in every policy we have, not just having one that's arbitrary or being like, you have to do this because I'm your boss. I believe just because you hold that role of an entitlement doesn't mean that they should follow you. You still need to earn your respect. And that starts from my management, even with me. I need to prove my respect to them consistently, not just expect it because I'm the owner.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I don't have to be on the phone. I don't have to prove to anybody how good I am at what I do, right? But at the same time, I am still on the phone. I
Hmm.
still have a small little contract that I do myself. And the guys can see my numbers on the board every day when I'm booking. So they know that when I tell them to do something, I'm not telling them to do something because I'm their boss. I'm telling them to do something because I'm good at what I do, which
Hmm.
makes a big difference because you're not just earning so to speak, you're not just earning your stripes because, I've had sales reps here that have been in the industry for 15 years, right? And I've been in the industry for 20, right? So like they need to be able to see that, hey, this guy's not just telling me this because whatever, he can go and frankly, he's better than me, at times, and I don't do that because I'm trying to point to anybody, oh, look at how good I am. No, that's not the point. The point is that I want you to follow me. And I want you
Hmm.
to follow me not because I'm just a boss, but because I'm showing you by example that this can be done. Because some people sometimes ask, like I remember many years ago, I was working with a company and they were charging commission or not commission, they were charging credit card fees on the deposit, which at the
Hmm.
time I did not have a single company that charged a percentage on or credit card percentage on the deposit. And so at the time, I was like, oh, I don't know how people will feel about this. But you know what? No problem.
Really, no one
No
batted an
problem
eye.
at all. It's all
Hmm.
about how you do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? When you do something like when you're charging a credit card fee on deposit, you just have to kind of like just fly through it. And what I mean by
yeah,
that is like, okay, so your deposit is $50 and we charge 3% for a credit card. It's going to be $53. Which card do you want to use?
yeah,
Literally just like that. And you know what? In many years doing it that way, I've only had two or three people out of thousands that I've booked that said, "Oh, why are you charging me that?" And I had to waive it, right? Out of thousands, literally, that I've booked that haven't had any issues with it whatsoever.
yeah. That makes sense. Word choice is very particular. When I train my guys on the phone, it's first I get them just down on the process, but then I start being particular in word choice. Like, remember I had one guy we were training, and he was like, "Oh, this day we have available. We can probably do that," and we could do it, but he was using the word probably, and it was just the lack of confidence in his
Hmm.
word choice, where that can make a
Right.
customer, even if everything was correct, just not want to go with you because they're not leaving that phone call like, "This is the professional guiding me through this process." Just through small things that are almost subconscious in a way.
I mean, that's important. And the other part of it too is that, frankly, is just saying, "Hey, it is." Well, you said the right word, confidence.
Hmm.
So if you exude confidence over the phone, if that's what the people hear is confidence, they're going to book with you.
Yeah.
Right? So if even no matter what it is that you're saying, you got to be confident about what you're saying. It. So
Hmm.
confidence sells it, right? So if
Hmm.
you're confident in your words, if you sound confident, they're going to be confident in you, and they're going to be confident in the company that you're representing,
Yeah, I agree. I think it's confidence. The other thing I add to that is authenticity.
right?
That's one
Right.
thing I've noticed from even the Titan retreat that I went to in a little bit is how I lead and how I'm gonna lead my team is not gonna be how you lead.
No.
And they had Andy Elliott there. And
Right.
do I believe Andy Elliott is that guy who acts like that? Absolutely. He is that person. However, I'm not a person who's going to act that way. That's just not how
Mhm.
I lead. And I
Yeah.
saw some people trying to mimic his type of leadership,
You
and
got
it
to be
doesn't
yourself.
work. Yeah, and people pick up
Yeah,
on
I
that.
heard I heard a lot of people complaining about it, Andy Elliott. Like I,
Yeah.
I I can tell you myself, I'm not a big fan of motivational speakers.
Hmm.
Because to me, motivational speakers, they're like a drug to a degree,
Yep.
right? So my thing is this, you got to look at your life. You got to look at your family. You got to look at the reason you do what you do every day.
Hmm.
And frankly, if you can't motivate yourself, you got a much bigger problem than going to hear a motivational speaker.
100%.
Because motivational speaker, you go, you get that energy, you're good for a week, 2, 3 months, right? But then if you can't motivate yourself, you're gonna need to go again and again and again and again. And the thing is this, look around you. There's not enough things to get motivated.
Yeah.
You want to get a better car. That's motivation. You want to
Yeah.
go on vacation. That's motivation.
Yeah.
You want to buy a dress or flowers or whatever, or a diamond ring for your wife. That's motivation. You want to get some great toys or for your kids, or get them into some sort of programs that they like, or school that they like, or whatever else. That's motivation. So if you guys don't have enough of that going on in your life, you got to find it and find it quick because no motivational speaker is going to be able to give you that every single day of your life
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then you just hear people regurgitating the same motivational stuff they said.
over and over and
People
over
pick
again.
up and they could, and if you're selling and you don't sound authentic and that's not your style approach, like our office is, we are good people that are experts. And when we give our estimate, we're not pushy, but people have so much trust in us from seeing all of our content, our videos, and us just being nice people that they just want to go ahead and book with us immediately. And I do know there are some people that sell heavy, follow up 10 times and do a great job at that. And that's just not our technique and style. It's just like, again, you have to find out what's true to you. And if you don't follow what's true to you, people pick up on that and just get grossed out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can do follow up, but there's to me there's a difference between there's a fine line between stalking and
Hmm.
being assertive.
Yeah.
And I always tell my salespeople, I'm okay if you flirt with the line, but I don't want you to cross it.
Yeah. That's a good approach.
You don't want to cross the line because the thing is this, and I'll tell you this, some companies I've heard them say, if the customer tells me to F off, that means I'm doing a good job. No, it doesn't. Because if you got to, in my opinion, if you got to that point where the customer is telling you F off, now what you're doing, yeah, you didn't book the job. Yeah, they didn't do the job, they don't get a better review, but this is what happens. That person, he's gonna choose somebody else. He's gonna move with them, and then after the move is completed, his friends are gonna ask him how the move went. His family is gonna ask him how the move went. His coworkers are gonna ask him how the move went, right? So he can either say, "Oh well, this company was okay, right?" Or it was bad, or whatever the case is. But if you left a bad taste in their mouth as somebody that was calling, they're gonna add one extra thing, and they can say, "Man, there was this other person that was calling me." And they were this and they were that, and I had to tell them to F off.
Yeah,
They're going to share that experience. So
absolutely.
now, the move didn't happen. You didn't make any money, but now you lost 10 potential customers or more. Or you can go the other way. Yeah, maybe they didn't choose you, right? And maybe they did not have the best experience. So now the people are asking them about their experience. They can say, well, yeah, these guys were not the greatest, but you know what? There was this company that I talked to. Yeah, I didn't choose them, but now but after having this move, I regret not choosing them. And they were great.
Yeah.
They were great in their communication. So now the move did not happen. You left a good taste in the person's mouth, even though you didn't do their move. And now you might have got 10 potential customers or more based on simple communication.
And I think even if you play that out and it's like best case scenario, if you got them to convince to you choose you
Mhm.
but right before saying F off, I feel like they still are kind of upset that they picked you. And now they're going to be hypercritical on the move day
Mhm.
and look for problems because they feel like they got convinced rather than them picking that emotional choice
Right.
because
Or
they
you
like
made
you.
them choose you
Yeah.
versus convincing them.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so like in order to change that whole narrative around that move just needs to go just completely smooth without any hitch, without any issues whatsoever in order for their whole viewpoint of you making them do this is changed around. So I think that stuff is extremely important. But of course, we can talk about stuff like that uh, for a while. But I mean, ultimately, we all want to do a great job.
Mhm.
So, but once again, Ryan, thank you very much for joining me. And like I always say, the world moves on its own. So let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. And we'll make sure to put some links for you in this podcast.